Guys, we're going to talk about Grayscale's Ethereum ETF and why this opens up the door for other Grayscale ETFs. And Grayscale has a lot of crypto assets, Cardano and XLM, for instance. They could see mini pumps as ETFs come up for these coins in the future. And we're going to talk about that and why Grayscale essentially has the SEC by the balls, and Gary Gensler does not like having his balls squeezed by Grayscale. But Grayscale is squeezing it hard because they got it and they're not letting it go. And I don't think the SEC has a way to really fight back. I mean, if someone has you and is squeezing you by the balls, generally you don't have too much of a way to fight back. We're also going to talk about one thing that could be a potential pitfall and could actually cause a dump in October. And I think it's something that a lot of people have actually forgotten. So let's actually talk about these mini pumps that could actually happen for various cryptos. You know that Grayscale filed for an Ethereum spot ETF today. The other stuff that got approved was an Ethereum futures ETF. This is why that's significant. I think anytime a futures ETF is approved in the United States for a certain coin, I think Grayscale will file a spot ETF for that coin as long as they have a fund for it. And like I said, that includes coins like XLM and ADA because they have funds for both those coins. Now, why is that? Well, it's because, remember, they won the lawsuit and the judge basically said, hey, since the SEC, you approved a futures ETF, you have no reason not to approve a spot ETF. And that logic will actually work for all these coins. So the SEC's loss against Grayscale in that one lawsuit was completely critical, and it completely screws the SEC going further down the road. And Grayscale's CEO is like, haha, we have him by the balls. Let's squeeze him a bit and see what we can actually get. Because since they ruled that way on the Bitcoin ETF, there is no reason they wouldn't rule that way on the Ethereum ETF. So they actually might force Grayscale to might force the SEC to approve a Grayscale Ethereum's ETF as well. And wouldn't that be something? Not only do we get a Bitcoin ETF this year or next year, we also get an Ethereum spot ETF, which means that these companies are going to start to have to hold Ethereum as well. And if Grayscale gets it, you can bet that other big institutions are going to be climbing on board as well because they don't really want to miss out. And like I said, Grayscale could file for an XLM ETF and a Cardano ETF if futures ETFs for those things are actually filed as well. And I do think there are going to be certain institutions and certain companies that are actually going to be interested in filing futures ETFs for these big cryptos in the United States. Now, like, if your coin isn't on Grayscale's list, you might want to write to Grayscale and ask them to put it on the list because this could actually be pumpage for your coin. This is a lot of investment. And like I said, if Grayscale comes in, you can bet that other big institutions are going to be interested as well. So I'm really, really looking forward to this. I want to see what the SEC does with this Grayscale Ethereum application because I actually don't think they have that much of a way out. They've kind of screwed themselves by going against SEC in the Bitcoin application. And the Ethereum application, I mean, I don't see how they're going to deny it. And they approve Grayscale's spot ETF application. I don't see how they could deny Grayscale's Ethereum ETF application. So the SEC kind of screwed themselves on this one. They're kind of up a creek without a paddle. And because they are up a creek without a paddle, I am laughing my ass off at him. Gary Gensler has his hands full, and I don't think there's a way that he's going to squeeze his little ass out of this one. I just don't see a way for him to actually do so, and I am very, very glad that they put him in this particular predicament because he obviously 100% deserves the predicament that he is actually in. So this is obviously like something that, you know, I'm excited about and you should be excited about too because this could really spur an altcoin bull run, especially of the major altcoins. Now, if you have some of the smaller ones, it might not affect you because obviously like no one's going to give like a Pepe ETF or anything like that. But if you have like, the top 20 blue chip type of cryptos or blue chip type of altcoins, this could easily be the case for your crypto in the future. And you just have to look out for that information, because I don't think Grayscale is going to stop with just the Ethereum ETF. Right now, it could be just Bitcoin and Ethereum for a while. It could definitely just be Bitcoin and Ethereum for a while. But over time, other cryptos are definitely going to want their way in. And I don't think the SEC is going to be able to stop those other cryptos from coming in. I don't think there's any real way they're going to do it. So, yeah, this is like a really, really good piece of news for crypto. And I don't think a lot of people realizes the impact of what this could actually do to the crypto world. It could really legitimize crypto, and it can actually strongly decrease the SEC's power over crypto. So the other thing I actually want to capitalize on, or the other thing I really, really want to mention about all of this is that student loan payments are going to start soon in October, and that could actually cause a dump. Remember, student loans are evil. I think they start this Sunday. It is one of the few loans that you cannot get rid of by declaring bankruptcy. They will rob every dime of your salary to repay those student loans, because that's just how they work the legislation, and that's how the fat cats and the loan boys actually basically besiege the government into convincing the government to not let people off student loans. Yes, they are that kind of evil. And there's really not much you can do about that kind of evil. So the thing is, if people have those student loans, they're going to have to start paying them this Sunday, because obviously the Supreme Court kind of said the loan forgiveness stuff was unconstitutional or something. I don't really know. I'm not going to talk about the political ramifications of that. But the thing is, they might actually, some of those students, I don't know how many students actually buy crypto, but I'm guessing there is probably quite of a spillover, because Gen Y and Gen Z people are much more likely to buy crypto than Gen Xers and above. And I think it's mostly Gen Y and Gen Z that actually have the college debt for right now. So based on that fact alone, I do think student loans are going to play a little bit of effect in the crypto market, as some people might actually have to liquidate their crypto to pay off their student loans. Because remember, you can declare bankruptcy, but you can't get rid of the student loan debt. They will send the student loan ninjas after you if you have student loans. Luckily for me, I paid off my student loans 17 years ago. But that's not true. That's not true for everyone. I only had about $7,000, $8,000 in student loans. I got a pretty high paying job right after college, took care of it within 6 months. But some people are not so lucky, and if you're not so lucky and you're saddled with them, then you just might be kind of screwed, honestly. And that's just not something that I would want to deal with. And luckily, I don't have to deal with it, but there's going to be a lot of people that are going to have to deal with it. And they're saddled with loans that they probably can't pay off anytime soon, and they're going to have to liquidate that crypto. Now, how many millions or billions of dollars is that going to entail? I actually have no idea how many millions or billions of dollars that's going to entail, but it could actually be quite costly. So that's something that you actually need to keep in mind, and that's something that could actually offset this pump that we're actually having. I think the pump is retracing a little bit right now anyways, and by the time you see this video, it might have retraced even more, because I think it was just the euphoria of the government not actually shutting down, and that the bloody September that wasn't really that bloody actually is over. I hope this pump persists, but I think the looming student loans are going to play a bit of a factor, because it is generally younger people that have the student loans, and it is generally younger people that have crypto as well. Remember, back, my generation was, and we graduated from college, people like me 20 years ago. Some of us still have a lot of big student loans. I personally don't, but some of my friends actually do. The millennials, and especially Gen Z, and my generation is the first one where college started becoming super, super expensive. My parents' generation, college was actually really cheap. Many people went to in-state schools, so they didn't come out with that many student loans. And a lot of people in my parents' generation didn't even go to college in the first place. My generation was the first one where people were expected to go to college, and you had to actually pay for that. And I think just the increase in demand, plus all the government loan programs for higher education, really pushed the price up. And student loan debt outside of housing, like house payments and mortgage debt, is the biggest source of debt in the United States. So you can see where that would actually have kind of an effect on things. So yeah, like student loans, definitely like I think going to play a very, very big, important part in this. I don't know like how big it'll exactly be, but it ain't cheap. And there could be like tens of thousands of people like cashing in on their crypto, no matter what price it is, to desperately pay off their student loans. And that's starting this Sunday. So there might be some downward pressure for October as well. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.